if a woman who was divorced now wants to travel, even to go to ziyarah, even to go to Hajj, even to go to Umrah, to Karbala, to Najaf, to Arba'in, whatever it may be, the least that they will tell her before she leaves, or when she wants to make a decision, is, Inshallah, you'll get married and go with your husband, which means you shouldn't be going,
Right.
indirectly.
Right.
And that really hurts people. Why is it so easy for people to say things that are hurtful? And specifically, a person in that situation will be hurt a lot more than a normal average person. So what this pressure that's created on individuals has led people to stay in broken marriages and in dangerous marriages for a very long time.
Yes.
Or once they do seek separation, then they're also harassed by people who are supposed to support them. And as well, I believe that, once they want to get into a new chapter of their life, meaning they want to get to know somebody, I don't think that there is enough support for that. Have you thought of possibly, creating a system that teaches individuals, especially the sisters, that look, this is the way that you're supposed to probably look into this individual who you want to have a new marriage with after you've lost your husband, or you separated from your husband? Those are the things that are important. You should focus on them. Those are the things that you should ask. And if things do go wrong, then they do go wrong. Don't feel trapped. Don't feel like you're stuck here for the rest of your life. And I feel this is so different for the men and women in our community, because men, we know people who have gone through 3-4 divorces, mashallah.
And it's okay. They don't have an X on their name. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll let you discuss all those things.
So much to jump into this from all over the place, and my mind was buzzing as you were describing. So this is my daily life in terms of what I see with the sisters in the community. The stories daily, like you say, and I get so many questions, and it breaks my heart truly to see that young, amazing, and even older women are going through these disgusting types of scenarios from men who supposedly call themselves followers of the Ahl al-Bayt, alayhim as-salam. This is the tragedy right there. You call yourselves followers of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Ya Ali and Latam and tattooed Dhul Fiqar all over you, and here you are beating your kids, beating your wife, or completely going against what the values were in terms of embodied by the Imam. So let me stay on track in a professional way, otherwise we'll completely get off track here. Essentially, when we talk about, do I have a system in place? I don't have a system in place other than when people approach me with their scenarios, then I could mentor and guide and refer them and help them. A lot of young women I've helped in terms of getting divorces, because a lot of people get stuck in, like you were describing, in separation, where we know that the classic scenario, she leaves because of abuse, or she's unhappy, it's not working out, he refuses to change, he goes and cheats, he goes and does whatever he wants, and so she is left hanging, mu'allaqa, right? So she is stuck in that position where he goes on and continues. He even remarries while she's still under his name. We know these scenarios, and these women are stuck because, let's say, for example, the ex-husband, but still shar'an husband, goes and pays off the sheikh or the sayyid, I'm sure you know the scenario, not to give her the divorce. Do you know how often I hear this story? It's such a tragedy and a despicable thing that happens in our communities. So this woman is left here, okay? And I've heard stories from sheikhs where they've told me there comes a point, unfortunately, where sometimes some of these women, because of the scholars, the sheikhs, or the family, or the money, the politics that's involved, they leave the faith. They take off their hijab and even involve in fornication because they don't care anymore. They've lost faith. Now, these are extreme scenarios, of course, but they have happened. I've seen them happen. We've seen people who still hold on to the faith and say, there is a solution. There is a way around it. Alhamdulillah, there's some amazing sheikhs out there who recognize these types of abusive situations and don't play the dirty game that some do play, and help these women get out of these nasty situations. Now, these women, unfortunately, are left traumatized. They are raw. They don't know what to do with themselves, right? And so when people go through these traumatic situations, they do need proper therapy to work through the anxiety, to work through the trauma of the abuse, to get back to baseline functioning so they can take care of their kids, so they take care of themselves, find a job, continue with their education, or after they've taken time off work, get back to work and slowly get back into what normal can be defined. But it takes time. We know these stories. Now, like I said, I don't have a system in place, but alhamdulillah,
Is there a
I've been
system in
blessed.
place?
There is no system in place. You don't have a regulatory system with the people who are responsible to given divorces. Each sheikh or scholar or whoever's responsible in a center has their own process of how to go about it. Of course, it depends what marja'iyah you're in. And I've been through this whole process with so many people that it was actually very, what's the word? Very upsetting, to say the least, to see how it's not done in a proper way.
My question is there a place, is there a system, is there an organization for our community that if I am in a marriage and I am being abused, I can seek counsel? Look, the first thing that you want to do is obviously not to separate or divorce, right?
No, but you need to get help. So how do people do it?
And you need help from individuals who are discreet, who are not going to basically go around and saying, this person called and he's having problems with his wife, and his wife is doing this and her husband's doing this.
Oh, we know.
Happens.
We know sheikhs do that. They go tell their wives, and next thing you know, the whole community knows. I've seen that firsthand, unfortunately. So
is there a system in our community, whether it's Canada or the United States, that provides the service?
Honestly, I have not seen it within our communities. I have seen within our Sunni communities, there have been now some organizations like Nisa Homes and Sakina Homes here in Ottawa, where they are slowly opening up shelters for women who are in these situations to leave and have a safe place to go to with halal food. They know tahara and so on and so forth, because there's a lot of these shelters, women's shelters, they're not quite familiar with our Islamic traditions. And so we are slowly seeing that happening. In our community, because we're a little bit behind with the mental health factor, we're slowly getting there. There are, let's say, individual people and groups of people who do it, but not, let's say, in an organized manner like I've seen in other communities. We're slowly getting there because people are reaching out, because they're asking people like you and I. We are trying to do something about it. I can tell you, for example, in Ottawa, we have a group called, this is separate from the shelter, called Sakina Wellness Services. And we haven't fully launched yet because we're still doing grassroots and building up, where you have a group of mental health professionals, you have scholars, sheikhs, and other professionals in the community who care about these issues, including domestic violence and abuse and divorce, where we want to be able to address it. So it's not fully developed yet. We are slowly getting there, but we know within other communities, there definitely are systems in place. There are organizations in place because they know the need is there. The need is there within our communities. But first, let's address the corruption with people in positions of power, right? And not just this issue. Of course, it's all across the board. But when it comes to this issue, it's prevalent. We know it is. Like I gave the example of the family of one party paying off the sheikh or the sayyid or whoever's representing the divorce in the matter to not give the divorce to the woman. And we've seen women, and I've heard sheikhs tell me, Baba, just wait, we've had women 10 years waiting. I'm like, why should they even be waiting that long? When a woman has the right for divorce, problem is they're not educated. Women go into marriage, and men too, by the way, not knowing each other's rights, not knowing, first of all, what marriage is, not knowing how to respect, and I know this is another question we're going to discuss later, but you see where the root of the issue is that people go into marriage because they want that wedding. They want the side dishes of everything that comes with the wedding and the dress and this and that. COVID's put a stop to that, hasn't it? SubhanAllah. To focus now on what a marriage truly means. When these issues are addressed, and we know this is going to be a lifelong thing, it's going to happen again and again, it's for those people who truly care to learn about themselves, to learn about what it means to be married, especially from an Islamic perspective, what your goals are. When you truly have fear of God to hurt somebody, I think this is when the problems will stop. But is that realistic? Probably not. Humans are always going to be pulled towards things of power. They're drawn towards being able to hurt another person, just like we are pulled towards positivity, we're pulled towards evil. And it's a constant jihad in-nafs that we have. We can apply this concept absolutely to what we're talking about here as well. So short answer,
very important. Go ahead.
No system in place yet within the Shia community, but it is slowly getting there. Quick example, I know, for example, in the Hoja community in Africa, and I've heard this from people who have ties to these centers, in Africa, and I haven't seen this here, but they have premarital counseling. And this is a concept we need to apply. Any sheikh or scholar who performs the marriage rites, I believe, needs to put this in place to have premarital counseling, just like the Hoja community did in Africa, just like we know with a lot of Christian communities. This way you can learn about each other before you say yes to the dress.